Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be bringing you along as we ride the Empire Builder. So grab a beverage of your choice and join us. All right, we are riding the Empire Builder between two of our favorite cities in the US, and that is Chicago and Seattle. We're getting on in Chicago, getting off in Seattle, and that is the whole length of the trip. There is a section of the train that breaks off and goes down to Portland, but we're going to be riding all the way up to Seattle. It is the northernmost route for Amtrak, so that is kind of cool, and there is a ton to see. I think the Empire Builder is probably one of the most underrated train rides in the US.
Yeah, it's very pretty. I think there's a lot of scenery that I love. I love going over the Mississippi River when we get there, and I just love seeing some of the stuff out west. It is super underrated, and we're super happy to be able to ride this train.
All right, so we are starting out in Chicago, and we usually tell people not to get to the train station too early because there's really nothing to do, but in Chicago, you should get there a little bit early. If you've never been to Chicago Union Station, you definitely want to take a little bit of time and go around and check it out. It's beautiful. The architecture is gorgeous in that station. Plus, if you're in a sleeper car, you have access to the Metropolitan Lounge. And this is a really nice Metropolitan Lounge. It's probably our second favorite Metropolitan Lounge in all of the Amtrak network.
Yeah, the Metropolitan Lounge there is very busy because a lot of trains go through Chicago. The staff there, though, is amazing. They run that lounge with great efficiency, and when you hear them just handling the staff, handling the customers, handling the trains, it's quite a sight to see because they have a lot of trains coming in and out. The food, the snacks are good, free drinks, and there's a lot of restaurants right there in the station that you can go to as well.
Yeah, it's really nice too because you can also store your luggage there while you're waiting. So if you want to go look around and you don't want to have your bags with you, they have a little storage closet right next to the check-in desk, and you can store your bags there. They usually tell you or remind you, but you can always ask and put your bags in there, and then you're good to go if you want to roam around either the lounge or the train station without it. Now they do have priority boarding for sleeper car passengers if you are in the Metropolitan Lounge. So listen for the announcements because they do have lots of different trains, as you said, that are leaving from that station. So you have to be careful and not get in the wrong line because sometimes there are two trains that are leaving within minutes of each other, which means the boarding is going to be pretty much at the same time.
Yeah, there is priority boarding for the sleeper car passengers, and they will call that out. They'll call your train number and where it's going, so you just listen to the announcements and you'll get to the right train, which is good. It's a little bit of a walk to get down through the station to the platform, but not too bad. And before you know it, you'll be checked in. Now on this ride, we did reserve a roomette, which is what we usually get on the Empire Builder. It is our favorite Amtrak room to get, so that's what we took this time.
Yeah, we love the roomette because it's easy for us. It's the smallest of the options of the sleeper cars and usually the least expensive. But it's good for us because you've got your two seats that you can sit in facing each other. So one person can face the direction of travel. One person is, has their back facing the opposite way of the direction of travel. And you can both look out the window at the same time. Whereas if you're sitting next to each other in coach, you can't, you're kind of craning your neck to look out the side. It's nice in the roomette because you can sit across from each other and both look out the window at the same time. Plus, you can lay those seats down. The bottom two seats lay down into the bed, and then the upper bed folds down. It's usually up during the day unless you want it down and you want to take a nap. But thankfully, Rob is very comfortable in that upstairs. So he usually sleeps in that top bunk. We call it his penthouse. We started calling it that, I think, many years ago. I don't know why. I guess as a joke. But he usually sleeps in that upper bunk. But it's really nice because you have enough room for your carry-on stuff. There is a rack downstairs when you first get on the train where you could put your luggage if you bring your checked bags. If you don't check them and you bring them with you, there's a rack down there where you can put your bags. So you can just bring your carry-on stuff into the room, and there's plenty of space in the room for that.
Yeah, I do like to sleep up on the top, and it is tight though. I will say, you need to look and see how tight this is because there is not a lot of room to maneuver, and once you're up there, there's even less room to maneuver. So get your bearings before you get up there. You got to figure out where you want to put everything. That's my main advice to people sleeping on the top, is have a plan for your glasses, your phone, any snacks, things like that, things you'll need in the night. Know where everything is, because it's kind of hard to see. There are no windows up there, and that is something that I do like on the Viewliner. There are windows. You can let a little bit of light in, but on the Superliner, there's no windows, so it does get a little dark.
Yeah, a couple things to be prepared for in a roomette. It is actually remarkably quiet, which I think is pretty cool, because you would think it would be a lot noisier, but especially if you're upstairs, it's really quiet. At night, people don't make a ton of noise. One thing to keep in mind though is that door. If you go to the bathroom in the night, the door doesn't like click shut. So when you if you go to the bathroom in the night and you close the door, the train does jostle around quite a bit. That door will slide open and make a big loud noise, wake up not just you upstairs or me downstairs, but also probably your neighbors too. So we usually stick like a shoe underneath the door,
Yeah, like
or
a
something.
flip-flop.
Yeah, a flip flop or something. And then that keeps the door from sliding back and forth, makes it a lot easier than having to avoid making those loud noises. But it's pretty good overall, and especially if you're not riding it, a bunch of them in a row. The roomette, I think, is really comfortable and really easy for, like one long ride like this Empire Builder.
There is one bathroom upstairs and 3 bathrooms and a shower downstairs. So if proximity to bathrooms is your main concern, the downstairs option might be good for you, but we like the upstairs option. It's never usually very crowded, and you can always walk downstairs if you need that. The bathrooms are the same, and the shower is almost never busy.
Yeah, it's really nice to have that shower down there. I think what's funny is that not a lot of people use the shower. I've never had to stand in line to use the shower down there before. And they actually provide you with, shampoo and a quickie little bar of soap that you just throw out, obviously, afterwards. And they provide you with the towels. There's usually washcloths already in the room, which you can use in the mornings to, when you're washing up, brushing your teeth, wash your face, that kind of stuff. So those are in there in your room, usually the washcloths. But the bath towels are usually kept either downstairs near where the luggage is, like in a big plastic bag, or sometimes they just go ahead and put them in the shower inside the bag, and so you know which ones are clean, and then once you've used them, they have a bag to put the used bath towels too.
Yeah, and all the train rides we've ever done, I've never seen anyone else take a shower, which there's a lot of train rides, so people aren't showering on the train. I don't know why. They're not bad, but try the shower. You might be surprised as to how good it is. Let's talk about the meals, though, because on this train we do get some of our favorite Amtrak meals.
Yeah, so if you have sleeper car, which is what we have, a roomette, then you get all of your meals included in your fare, which is super nice. You get breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever meals you're on the train for, that's what you get. And then there's designated times when they have those. Your room attendant, when you first get on the train, they come around, introduce themselves, kind of give you the rundown, and then they tell you what times for whatever the next meal is going to be. So if you get on the train and it's late and the next meal is going to be breakfast, then they tell you breakfast starts at, this time, ends at this time, make sure you get down there. Or you can always have your meals in your room as well. Just let the attendant know, hey, I just want to eat in my room the whole time. If you could just get them for me, that'd be great. The room attendant gets it for you and brings it to your room. You cannot go to the dining car and get your meal to go for yourself. They won't do it. I don't know why they don't do that, because I feel like it would be easier for the room attendant because they already have so many things to do. But for some reason, you can't do that. So you have to have your room attendant get the meal for you, and then you bring it back to your room.
Yeah, I do like some of the meals they have there. Usually for lunch, I end up getting the cheeseburger, and then at dinner, we like the chicken and also the flat iron steak, because kind of the best things on that train.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed the breakfast on there. I don't always get French toast, but when I ride Amtrak, I really like to get the railroad French toast. It's so good. It's kind of like a fun, decadent thing to have when you're on the train. It's luxurious, and it feels luxurious to have a meal like that. So their railroad French toast, it's famous. Everybody loves it. So if you're okay with French toast or you like it, that would definitely be the meal to go for breakfast. And then for lunch, I do like the burger. The Amtrak hamburger is probably the best train hamburger we've ever had anywhere in the world, and we've been on trains all over the world, and it is definitely the best train hamburger we've ever had. And then as far as dinner, I always like the salmon. If you watch our channel at all, you probably know I'm gonna get the salmon. So either that or any kind of seafood, especially like for dinner you get an appetizer. Sometimes you also get a salad, and then you get your meal and a dessert. Plus, at dinner you get one alcoholic beverage per person. It's per ride, so you don't get it every night at dinner, but you can buy more drinks if you want. But the other drinks are all included: juices, sodas, and pretty much unlimited water too.
One place we love to go is the observation car, and that is available to all passengers, both sleeper car and coach. So that's open to everyone. We love to go down there usually right after we leave Chicago and start looking at the sights, but definitely on days 2 we like to go down there because there's a lot of things to see, a lot of good sights to see along the way.
Yeah, the observation car is really cool because that's where everybody, kind of the cross section of the whole train, coach passengers and sleeper car passengers kind of all come together, because usually that's what separates coach and sleeper cars, is usually the observation car, because that's also where you'll go to the cafe. If you're looking for snacks, or if for some reason the meals that you have included in the sleeper car don't suit you, you can always go downstairs to the cafe car. It's on the lower level of the sightseer lounge, the observation car. Go down there and buy something, and you know those are not included in the sleeper car. Even if you skip a meal, you still have to pay for them, but just know that you can go down there and you know buy some more food down there. But again, you still do get your beverages, so you can always ask for your attendant for your beverages if you want, you know, soda or water or whatever during the day, throughout the day. So lots of stuff to see there. One of the cool things is on this train is crossing over the Mississippi River. I think that's a really cool thing. We have done that. Now, it depends on if the train is running on time or not. This train in particular, which actually ended up working out for us, was running behind. So we actually got to cross over the Mississippi while we were having dinner. But it ended up working out for us because we got to see something really cool later on in the ride.
Yeah, I love crossing the Mississippi. It is one of the highlights of the trip. But probably the bigger highlight is coming into Glacier National Park. And this is something where you usually get there when it's daylight, but if you're a little bit late, you might get there right around sunset.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful sight. It's actually kind of cool because also if you're getting off, it's an actual station stop. It's not a fresh air break though, but it is a station stop. And when they stop there, you see the National Park van coming to pick people up to take them into the park. So if you're going to Glacier National Park, you can actually get off at the East Glacier National Park stop, and you'll be picked up. You make the arrangements with the park, be picked up by the National Park Service in their van, and they take you to your accommodations on the property there.
Now, overnight, the train will split into 2 trains because one of the trains is going to go to Portland and one is going to go to Seattle. So you will it'll be a long train, and then all of a sudden it'll be a short train the next morning. So you will feel that in the middle of the night. Possibly it may wake you up as they're moving cars on and off of the train. But usually it's not too bad, and you don't really even remember it the next day if you're sleeping pretty well.
Yeah, so I mentioned fresh air breaks here a second ago, and fresh air breaks is something you should take advantage of. I feel like there's not as many on the Empire Builder as compared to some of the other train rides. The train does continue to stop. However, the fresh air breaks are when you can actually get off the train and walk around for a few minutes. And because we were running behind, we didn't have as many or as long as we would have because, you know, they were running behind schedule. So they were trying to catch up a little bit by cutting things like fresh air breaks from, you know, 30 minutes to 5 minutes. So just know that when you do take fresh air breaks and you get off the train, which you should, make sure that you pay attention to how long you have. Stay close to the train. I like to keep the train in my sights, like I want to be able to see it because otherwise I get a little bit nervous if I get too far away from the train and I feel like I can't hear it, because when they blow that horn and you hear the all aboard, it literally in seconds they clean that up and they are gone, and they just don't wait around.
One of the next beautiful things you may see is the Columbia River Gorge. Just a gorgeous section of train tracks to ride through. One of our favorites to see every time we ride this trip.
Yeah, the Columbia River is so beautiful. And just when you come through there, the way the light of the sun is hitting it, it's just like this glorious kind of orange glow, and the river is so beautiful down below. You see these gorgeous homes also up and down, you know, that riverbanks there as you're riding along. Really beautiful section. And then from there, like, it's not over. And this is why we're saying the Empire Builder is so underrated, is because you see so many cool things and people just don't think about it because they're like, oh, it's the northern part of the U.S. Well, there's a lot of really cool stuff up there. So do not, you know, forget about this one because of that. But from the Columbia River, you end up going up into the Cascades, which is so beautiful. This mountain range area is so beautiful. There's a couple of parks up in this area as well, but going through the Cascades is just gorgeous. And it depends on the time of the year, but sometimes you'll see a little bit of snow too. Even as far into the year as May, you'll see some snow up in the mountains, which is really crazy.
Yeah, we've had definitely some snow. And then it's beautiful when you come into Seattle because you will go right on the Puget Sound, and it'll be the right-hand side of the train. You get to see it as it loops around if you're going from Chicago to Seattle. So that's the side you want to be on for the observation car if you end up there, or maybe your room or your seat in coach is on that side anyway. So it is beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I like to think of it as like the other Coast Starlight, because it's so similar to you know, seeing the coast on the Coast Starlight, because when you're coming by Puget Sound, it feels like sometimes you could reach out and just touch the water. That's how close you are to it. Or there's like a little strip of sand or something between you and the water, and it's just so beautiful right there to be able to see that. Just a gorgeous view of the Sound as you're pulling into King Street Station in Seattle. You do get a quick little peep at the Space Needle too as you're arriving into Seattle there. And King Street Station is another kind of really cool station. As you're pulling in there, they've renovated it a couple of times. I think in just recent years, they finished up another renovation, but it's a really cool kind of older station too.
It is, yeah. Now, it does not have a Metropolitan Lounge, so keep that in mind. If you're leaving Seattle, you will not have a lounge to sit in. But it is in this area. It's right basically across the street from the ball fields where the Mariners play and where the Seahawks play football. So pretty well located there if you want to go to a game. There's a lot to do right in the area. And there's also a really great hotel right there, which is the Embassy Suites Pioneer Square. And that is basically directly across the street from King Street Station.
This is such a great hotel, and when we can get a good deal on points, we usually try to stay at this hotel as much as possible. We've stayed at a couple others, but we have to get Uber to get to them. We've stayed at the Olive 8 when we stayed there a lot longer last time, or we've also stayed at the Crown Plaza there as well. But again, we were staying there much longer, so it was fine to be farther away. But if you have a train that's leaving early in the morning, the Embassy Suite is going to be your best friend, because you could walk right across the street. You don't have to worry about trying to get a car. You don't have to you don't have to worry about trying to get up extra early so you can get to the station. You just walk right out the door and you are literally just steps away from King Street Station. So that's really nice. This time around, we are not sticking around for too long. So we did stay at the Embassy Suite, and we did get a nice room, a little suite upgrade here at the Embassy Suite. At the Embassy Suites, you know, you got those nice suites and great views. So it's really nice place to stay, and so much to do right in that area. There's a lot of stuff to do right there in Chicago. In Seattle. And one of those cool things that they did tell us when the Rails and Trails program got on from the National Park Service, got on the train on the Empire Builder with us, they told us about their Klondike Museum right there in downtown Seattle, and that was a really cool experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fun. I learned a lot about the gold rush and all the situation, and what was cool was we ended up doing an Alaska cruise shortly after that, and some of that knowledge that we learned at that Klondike Museum came in handy on the Alaska cruise also, because it was also a part of that. So lots to do there and lots to see, a lot of great restaurants in the area. Totally recommend Embassy Suites Pioneer Square if you can get a room there. And check out a Mariners game. We actually even went to an MLS game, which was at the football stadium one day while we were there as well.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. There's so many things to do. You know, Seattle is a really vibrant city, and it's got a great food scene, like Rob said. Obviously, a very good coffee scene if you're a coffee fan. And you know, it's always fun to stop at the public market and go check that out. There's a lot of really cool stuff. Depending on the time of the year, they'll have lots of different things and lots of different types of foods available at public market. This time around, we tried out some cider and donuts, and that was really good. And of course, it is always fun if you can catch them tossing fish. That's always a fun thing to see. I think that doesn't stop being fun ever. I like to see it every single time. I don't know about you guys, but I think that that's pretty fun too. But yeah, it's just a really cool city. One thing to keep in mind though is the hills. It is a very hilly city. You don't think about that, but it is a very hilly city. So you know, you do a lot of walking, but I think you should get bonus steps for walking the hills of the city too.
Yeah, normally you have to walk back up the hill to your hotel. If you walk down to the pier, it's a hike back up. So keep that in mind when you're walking. It is going to be a little bit of a steep walk back, probably.
Yeah, so we had a really great ride on the Empire Builder. Hopefully you guys enjoyed coming along with us in this way and just kind of sharing some tips along the way. If you have questions about riding the Empire Builder from Chicago to Seattle or Seattle to Chicago, leave those questions for us in the comments. Or if you have any other questions about riding Amtrak, leave those for us in the comments. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing. Give us a like if you enjoyed this video, and we're going to see you guys next time.